This is the Fiat 500. Not only is it the US return of the Fiat brand, it's the latest car trying to convince Americans that small cars can be interesting, frugal, and fun. Of course, it's following the lead of BMW's Mini. We needed to bring a third car, so we brought this, the Honda CR-Z. These are three very different cars, with remarkably similar stats. It's going to be interesting.
This is the 2011 Honda CR-Z.
In some ways, it is the spiritual successor to the Honda CRX, which of course is talked about as being an enthusiast halo car. But what's interesting about where Honda's positioned this is they've taken two words that have never gone together, sport and hybrid. Is it possible? That's a hell of a question.
Honda claims 35 in town and 39 for the highway. I would think 50 miles to the gallon out of this thing consistent, but because it's sporty, you're going to try to drive it a little bit harder.
Now helping that is right up front, they've got a 6-speed manual offered in this car. Of course, you can get a continuously variable transmission, but we all know that those are about as involving as having sex while wearing a suit of armor. If you want a hybrid and you want a sports car, this is a party of one.
My big theme is compromise. Honda's designers are really trying to balance between sporty and practical. It's very angular and sharp, and there's a lot of styling cues to make the car interesting, but my soul is not stirred looking at this Honda.
The front of it feels like a bigger car, and in fact, I think the actual front grille opening is a little too big for a car this small. Now the creases in the side coming up from the front wheel kind of lean the car forward, suggesting it's ready to attack the road, and it works pretty well. But looking at it straight on, the back truncates like they ran out of car.
It's very much the successor to the CRX. It's that same hatchback shape. And the styling says sport, but it's practical on the inside. But there's loads of interior space. There's plenty of elbow room, headroom, and the footwell is huge. And I'm liking the seats. They're not amazing, but they're decent.
Now in other markets, the CR-Z is offering 2 rear seats. In this market, they've just offered 2 plastic cubby holes. They're like skeletons of the seats that you find in other markets.
But if you want to fold the whole thing flat, there's an enormous amount of room.
I mean, this is almost the exact opposite from the Fiat, which is very clean, staid, and classic looking. This is very busy and futuristic. The angles in here are like the sharp angles on the exterior. It all feels very Star Trek.
But the more you look at it, there's some logic here. It's very clearly laid out.
The CR-Z has a drive mode system you can actually feel. Every time you turn the car on, it's going to be in the normal mode. And that's actually